The rise of Hitler is well documented, and let's look at what 100 years ago the New York Times was calling his symbol when they were reporting on the rise of it. This article is from 1922, and it quite clearly talks about the rise of Hitler and his followers, who New York Times calls the Hakenkreuzlers, not the Swastikaers or Swastika followers or anything, calls them the Hakenkreuzlers. So this was a term that was well accepted in journalism in those times. You can see the Jewish Daily Bulletin doing the same, talking about documenting the rising atrocities against Jewish people in different parts of Europe, but constantly referring to the symbol as Hakenkreuz, not swastika. And Nazis were avid propagandists themselves. I mean, they published their own literature, they published their own newspapers. Guess what they called their newspapers? Not the swastika banner, but the Hakenkreuz banners. And so I think you have to, you have to take people for their words, and if they are calling their symbol the Hakenkreuz, there really is no reason to be saying no, they actually meant it to be the swastika. You can see that even as late as 1934, the New York Times was still calling Hitler's symbol as Hakenkreuz. But New York Times, like in many other cases, has played an infamous role in driving this narrative change, because in 1933, for the first time, contradicting their own reporting from earlier years, they started calling Hitler's symbol swastika. And they also came up with this big article about, an old symbol, the hooked cross, making its way from India into Germany. Very illogical kind of argument, because India didn't have a hooked cross. India had a swastika. Hooked cross was in Europe, and hooked cross was right there in Germany. Germany did not need to import hooked crosses from India. It had it right there on its own abbeys and churches. But this was the first time we see New York Times use the word swastika to describe Hitler's symbol, contradicting its own reporting from 1920s.